2025 flash appeal for these areas, for the OPT, has been funded. Only 28%. So every government, every state, every individual that has been watching this crisis unfold and wondering, what can we do? If only there is something we can do. Now is the time to make that generosity count, to help us to deliver, to help us to save so many lives in the Gaza Strip, to respond to this plan at the scale required and with the level of kindness and generosity that frankly the world owes right now. We need those quick injections of aid to get the pipeline open and the aid flowing. For those tens of thousands of Palestinians and Israelis who have lost their lives in the last 2 years, on October 7th and since, including the hundreds of our humanitarian colleagues who have died trying to save lives. For those who have hoped against all hope for reason to prevail and this day to come. For those who yearn for food, medicine, shelter, security, to be reunited with their families and loved ones. And for those whose future can still be one of peace. We must act, and we will act. Thank you, Steph.
Thank you very much, Tom. I know you have a short amount of time, but we'll start with Edie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fletcher, on behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association for doing this important briefing. My name is Edith Lederer from the Associated Press. A couple of quick follow-ups. First, have the Israelis signed and Hamas signed on to the UN leading this major humanitarian effort, especially in Gaza for the 2 million Palestinians still there? Secondly, will UNRWA be playing a role? And thirdly, you said that some people were going to try to prevent this agreement from taking hold. Could you elaborate on who you're worried about that might impede the implementation of this agreement? Thank you.
Go ahead, Tom.
Well, thank you, Edie. Thank you, Steph. So the 20-point plan that was outlined by the mediators, by the negotiators, has excellent language in it on the importance of the UN role at the heart of the humanitarian response. And so we're being guided by that. That's the scaffolding within which we'll be working, and we're determined to do everything we can to play our part in delivering this important agreement. And that means that the entire UN family is mobilized to deliver. We've often said, I've often spoken about the indispensable role of UNRWA in delivering in our operations across our work to support Palestinian civilians. I've also spoken again today about the importance of our NGO colleagues and partners being mobilized to back this effort. We also, of course, need the private sector to be involved as well. We need the commercial routes to be running. Saving lives at this scale, given the level of needs, the level of starvation, the level of misery and despair, will require a massive collective effort, and that's what we're mobilized for. On the point about those who might seek to derail this process, I think it's no secret. I think there are hardliners on both sides of the argument who have sought in the past to delay or impede efforts to get the hostages out, to get the aid in. They've been explicit in their rejection of what we all recognize as a path towards peace. And I hope that the way in which the world has come out so clearly backing President Trump's initiative and the work that's been done by the regional foreign ministers, many of whom I've been in touch with today, that very, very strong welcome from the international community for this plan will serve to marginalize those voices who would seek to prevent its success.
And UNRWA's participation.
As I say, the whole UN humanitarian family is mobilized to do everything we can to get aid through. We will take a judgment day to day on what is needed on the convoys, where we can best save lives, but we'll be doing that as one UN family.
Thank you very much, Bisan Aboukwik with Al Jazeera Arabic. So you laid out this plan. You're ready it seems to be on the go immediately. So just a couple of questions. Do you feel that you have enough people on the ground to actually deliver what the plan promises? And from conversations that you have been having with donors or relevant parties since, this agreement has come to light, do you think that have you sensed a desire for more people coming forward to raise more money in terms of funding all of these operations, since you actually mentioned the percentage of money that's still available now? And one last and a third follow-up, a lot of the people who have been displaced, they're going to go back to areas where there are no homes. Homes have been destroyed. Do you have enough supplies in terms of tents, caravans, all of that for people who are displaced to actually find a place to stay when they go back to their areas?
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. So we are, in the words of my extraordinary colleague, Cindy McCain, who runs the World Food Programme, we are ready to roll. It's something she regularly says in meetings, and we are, in this case, absolutely ready to roll and deliver at scale. And I pay tribute to the work of our WFP colleagues and colleagues from across the UN and the wider humanitarian family for the preparations that they've been doing. They've wanted to get in at this scale for months. Let's be clear, we've been asking, demanding, imploring for the access which we hope that in the coming days we will now have. And so we are absolutely ready to go. As part of that, if you look at my phone now, you will see countless messages from colleagues from across the UN humanitarian family, people putting their hands up to get out there and help deliver this. This, for all of us, I think we feel the sense of purpose and the sense of mission about the importance of the work we have in the days ahead. So we have no shortage of volunteers, and we'll be taking those judgments about what expertise we need in country and in the region in the days ahead to make sure that we're not going to miss this opportunity. We must seize this opportunity of delivering at much, much greater scale than we've been able to do really since the last ceasefire when I was there back in January. On whether the donors will come forward, of course, let's wait and see. This is the moment when we test that commitment. We test whether the world will react with the generosity which I certainly feel is demanded in this situation. And, I'm an idealist here, and I refuse to believe, I cannot believe that the world will not come forward at this stage and make sure that these operations are fully funded. Anyone who has watched any of the news over the last 2 years, whose heart has been repeatedly broken by what they've seen, anyone who cares about getting the hostages home and the food in, as we all do, will surely come forward and get wholeheartedly behind this response. We do have significant supplies of tents. I can get you, the team can get you the figures of what we have on the borders ready to go in, but also what we're asking for in the days ahead. Many Palestinian civilians, as they told me they would do, will now be heading back to destroyed homes to try to restart their lives and start that long and painful process of rebuilding. This morning, when the news broke, there was huge celebration in Gaza that there was hope that this conflict was over. But then for many people, they returned to the desperation of just surviving. And a large part of that will be thinking about how they survive the winter, And so we have to get that shelter in for them, and I'm determined that we will do that.
Thank you. Ibtisam Azam, and then we'll go to Deji.
Hi, thank you. My name is Ibtisam Azam, Al Arab Al Jadid newspaper. I want to follow up on, you talked about sustained entry, but as a matter of fact, there is the issue of the blockade, and it is something that was before the beginning of this war also hindering access to Gaza. So are you calling for the lift of the blockade? And what do you think should be done about it? And then you talked about the need for bringing in hundreds of trucks, but there is also the issue of the quality of the aid that should enter, which includes probably machines and others to help you with your work, the other issues that you want to do. So how fast do you want to see all of this happening? And what about the Rafah crossing border? Are you working on having aid delivered through Rafah? Thank you.
Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you. So my assumption is we are going to have, and we must have, unimpeded access, unimpeded humanitarian access. And so the blockade must be lifted. We have been demanding that for months, and will continue to demand that. And my reading of the agreement is that we will have that unhindered access that is so important for our life-saving work. As you say, there will be a phase beyond the immediate humanitarian response when we can turn our minds to rebuilding and that long-term resilience of Gaza. We're not there yet. We will do the planning with our colleagues, with the parties on the ground, with the region to prepare a plan for that phase. But for now, our focus is on the ceasefire and on delivering this life-saving work and saving as many lives as we can in the conditions that we find ourselves in. To do that, to your final question, yes, we need all crossings open. When we talk about unimpeded access, that means opening all of those crossings, opening up those secure routes. And so that is a key part of our dialogue, and we're obviously in very close dialogue, our team on the ground, with the Israeli authorities, with the Palestinian authorities, with the region as well, including the neighbors, to ensure that we can get those crossings open.
Thank you. Deji, then Chris.
Hi, Mr. Fletcher. This is Xu Dezhi with China Central Television. 2 questions. Well, first, do you have a plan to visit Gaza in person if this ceasefire deal holds? And secondly, you just mentioned that your assumption is that you are going to have and you must have unimpeded access, humanitarian access into Gaza. What about your coordination with Israeli authority on this so far? Do they have a concrete agreement on this, or you are going to have a dialogue with them day by day to see whether you have how many trucks get into Gaza? Thank you.
Many thanks, Deji. This is the Gaza crisis is, as you can imagine, very much at the top of my in tray. And I would very much anticipate visiting to meet the team, to check on the progress of our aid delivery, and to ensure that we're doing everything we can to remove any obstacles and to work with everyone to get life-saving aid through. So I very much hope to visit, and I hope the conditions will be in place for that. In terms of the coordination, absolutely, we have a close dialogue with the Israeli authorities, with COGAT, who oversee much of this work. And that dialogue has been ongoing, even when we've gone through these very difficult months and when we've disagreed on many things. And so the team are, of course, engaged with them and engaged in a spirit of wanting to solve problems. And my hope is that that is the mindset of all of us in this next phase, that we want to work together to save as many lives as possible and make sure that President Trump's deal sticks in all its aspects.
Thank you. Chris and Emily.
Mr. Fletcher, thank you so much for holding this briefing. Chris Reyes with Canadian Broadcasting. This is just picking up on Deji's question. Given that Israel has had such a combative relationship with the United Nations throughout this war, how much of a green light do you need from Israel to carry out this ambitious plan? And perhaps you can give us some insight into the dialogue that you say that you're holding